Welcome back. Well, that took a while, didn't it? As soon as I saw that California start was 2 hours later, I was like, it's going to a shootout, isn't it? Because, of course, that delays the review. But here we are. The shootout did not go very long, and we'll talk about it. First up, Detroit and Boston. Right about now is where I'm starting to get concerned about Boston. So they had the win over Vancouver. I had some concerns about how that game played out, but they won it. And tonight, some concerns. Now, no Coach Cassidy, no Marchand, and the whole DeBrusque thing seems to be hanging over the team too. It's Nedeljkovic versus Ullmark. The shots were 1-1 at 4 minutes. Both teams feeling each other out early. Pressed by the Bruins at 6 minutes. And DeBrusque is being booed at home now. Now, I get it. He's asked for a trade, and I understand that fans aren't all that happy, but that's it's weird. It's weird to me to boo the guy who's wearing the jersey of the team that you're cheering for. So I don't know how long the DeBrusque thing is going to go. I'm hoping it's not very long. I'm hoping they figure out a trading partner and they get this done. Coyle had a cross-net pass to no one, which they speculated maybe somebody on Detroit called for it, which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, to me, that's fine. I've done that in street hockey plenty of times. You tap your stick and, hey, I'm open, and then they pass it to you. Osterley's denied as the Wings press. Pastrnak can't bury one. Bergeron fires one through the slot. Not much room at the net for either team. But we go to the second period. Bergeron gets stung on a shot block, and then it's Zadina that scores from Suter at 5:03. And Suter with a really smart play there to make sure he didn't jump on the ice till the guy he was replacing jumped off, so there was no too many men on the ice penalty. Riley then nearly answers. Nedeljkovic saves a shot from Craig Smith. The referee gets hurt around the halfway mark. He exits. Looked like it was his ankle. Shots were 11-2 for the Bruins with 7.5 minutes left. However, they're down 1-0. And the fans... I had to laugh at Jack Edwards. He didn't even correct himself on this one that I heard. Fans at TD Garden were getting restive. And I thought, restless and festive. How would that work? I want to know how people that are restless and festive look. I think of angry carolers who are looking at their watch. It was just weird. I knew what he was trying to get at, but yeah. I like it when announcers make up words. I thought the Wings owed Nedeljkovic too, because 36 minutes into this game, he's had to make 25 saves. And yeah, it's a busy night for him. Ullmark makes a save on a Bertuzzi chance. There's a late 4-on-4. The Bruins press during that. There's a crossbar then for Leddy. The Wings press after that. Hronik with a blast that saved. The Wings take a penalty at the end of the second period. So that starts the third. The Bruins can't set up during that power play. Hall can't bury it. There's a shorthanded chance for Gagne. It's killed off. Zadina with a centering pass. That's cleared out. Pasternak's denied. And it looked easy. It was an easy-looking save by Nedeljkovic there. Bruins press at 4 minutes. They get a power play. It turns into a 5-on-3. There was overpassing. There was shot blocks by Detroit. I thought they were going to kill it, but Pastrnak buries one from Hall and McAvoy at 6:20. That's during the 5-on-3. Pastrnak was then denied after the 5-on-4 ended, so Detroit did kill the 5-on-4. Hall with a net drive hits Nedeljkovic. Wings end up getting a power play. They don't score on it, but later on in the period during a delayed penalty, Mark Stahl scores from Nemestikov and Lindstrom at 11:33. And Stahl was involved in the physicality of this game, so you could see he was quite excited to get that goal because these teams were really kind of fired up during this game. Goalie pull with a minute and a half left, 28.6 seconds left. The Wings are guilty of icing, but Boston doesn't have an answer. They lose 2-1. The Wings go to 11-9-3 on the season. Boston drops to 11-8. The shots 8-5 Boston in the first, 17-5 Boston in the second, 17-6 Boston in the third. Final shots 42-16 for the Bruins. Power plays Detroit 0-1, Boston 1-3. The hits were 30-28 for Boston. Nedeljkovic 41 saves on 42 shots, not bad. Ullmark 14 saves on 16 shots. I mean, you want a better save percentage from your goaltender, but he only allowed 2 goals. Boston only got the 1, so there's a limited amount I can say about that, unless your argument is, well, he should have had the shutout. Okie dokie. Anyways, moving along. Capitals and the Florida Panthers. This is where the craziness starts. There was some craziness in tonight's games. So with Samsonov versus Bobrovsky, Ovechkin nearly scores early. The Caps had the early jump, and they score at 5:52. It's McMichael from Jensen At 6:03, Malenstein gets his first of the season from Leeson and Van Riemsdyk. So at 6:03, it's 2-0 Caps. And it looked like maybe they'll run away with it until 6:55. Joe Thornton scores from Ekblad and Huberdeau. So it's 2-1. And that's 3 goals in like a minute and 3 seconds. So it's like, oh, this is going to be a crazy score. And in the end, it kind of is. But it's crazy how we get there. Caps press with 9 minutes left. They're kept to the outside, however. Then they get a power play. There was a shorthanded chance for Ekblad that he fired high. It's killed off. Not much offense late in the period. Both teams really kind of lock it down. So we go to the second. Both defenses protecting early to the point where the shots are 3-1 for the Caps 6 minutes into the period. And then Eller scores at 6:40 from Wilson and Orlov. So that makes it 3-1. Huberdeau with a drive. That goes wide. Things get kind of scrummy after that. Ovechkin with a rush chance was saved. And then Jensen scores from Dowd and Malenstein at 12:40. So Malenstein with a goal and an assist. And the Caps are up 4-1. I did not put the record up there. So what happens during these games, I always have the record up there at the end. There are times during a game where I will put the record, the updated version of the record up there to make sure I don't forget. There were times where I started putting records up and I would forget. So I didn't do that with this one. I felt like, yeah, it's Florida. I don't know if it's over yet. So the Panthers get a power play. There were problems with the pegs attaching the net to the ice. In the Capitals net, the members of the Panthers felt that Samsonov was maybe pushing the goal off a little bit, maybe taking advantage of that, but they did come out and use the little drill there and whatnot to try to make the pegs work better. And as far as I could tell, it did work. Caps press, Bobrovsky saves. Things get scrummy again with 2:57 left. In the last minute, McMichael had a rush chance that was saved. So you go to the third period. And again, it's 4-1. So with 6 games going on at that time, actually we were up to 7 at that point because it's going into the third. So I thought, well, you know, I can keep an eye on other games and it'll be fine. Well, at 3:23, Florida starts the comeback. It's Lomberg from Hornqvist and Luostarinen. Caps call a timeout at 4 minutes and 40 seconds, trying to calm things down. It does not work. Power play for the Caps. During the Capitals' power play at 6:09, it is a shorthanded goal for Luostarinen from Lomberg and Weegar. So Lomberg with a goal and an assist at that point. Luostarinen with a goal and an assist. And then the rest of it's killed off. And you could feel the momentum swing taking place. Power play for the Panthers. Lots of chances for Florida. Shorthanded chance for Hathaway's tonight. It is killed off. The Panthers get another power play. They score on this one. And it's Bennett with the perfect deflection from Ekblad and Huberdeau at 12:01. Hornqvist hits a post not long after that. It is all Panthers. It's tied. Last minute, the Panthers get a power play. And I thought, well, this will roll over into the overtime. Nope, we don't get to overtime. At 19:45, it's Sam Reinhart. He scores from Huberdeau and Ekblad. A 4-1 lead going into the third period. And it's a regulation loss for the Capitals. They drop to 14-4-5. Florida goes to 15-4-3 with the win. Shots 15-12 Florida in the first, 13-9 Washington in the second, 26-2 Florida in the third period. Now, you can point out, well, this is special teams. True, but they only got 2 shots, and they allowed 26. So there's a lot of problems here, and the special teams are just part of it. Final shots, 50-27 for Florida. Power plays, 0-for-2 for Washington, 2-for-4 for Florida. Hits were 35 each. Samsonov saves 45 out of 50. So his goals against average coming out of tonight's game is 5 for this game, and his save percentage is .900. That rarely happens. Bobrovsky, 23 saves on 27 shots. I didn't think Bobrovsky had a fantastic game. Florida bailed him out. That's what they did. They bailed him out. And this might be one of those games we look back on and say that's where Florida started to get their game back. So we'll see. Next up, the San Jose Sharks in against the New Jersey Devils. This game started out lopsided and kind of ended lopsided, but it also had kind of a momentum swing too, and that was a big deal tonight. Reimer versus Blackwood. As long as Reimer's not against Toronto, he's pretty good. Early press by the Devils. Reimer looked sharp. The Devils were a step faster, though. And yet, at 4:26, it's San Jose that opens the scoring. It's Gregor from Šimik and Vlasic. So New Jersey had a really good first period, but they're chasing the game. And that was on a rebound. The Devils tried to answer. Gadjevich and Graves are unfriendly during this portion of the game. Devils get a power play. That was a no. The shots are 9-5 for the Devils at the halfway mark. Johnson with a spin move. Reimer saves. 13 Devil shots in the first 14 minutes. They'd only get one shot the rest of the period, though. Back and forth action. Now the Sharks are getting shots, and Gregor had a last-minute break that was saved by Blackwood. Second period, early chances for the Sharks. They press at 3 minutes. The Sharks score. It's challenged for offside, and so that one's gone. And then Middleton scores to reestablish that 2-goal lead from Gregor and Barabanov at 4:14. Or no, wrong. So it's challenged for offside, and it counts because Hurdle tagged up. So Middleton gets that goal from Gregor and Barabanov. And it surprised me they challenged, because if you looked at the replay they showed, you couldn't see his skate was on there, but you could see that the tag up move was made, and usually that's the tag up. So Hurdle tagged up. Shots evened up. Sharks, though, with the momentum. There's a power play for San Jose, and they score on it. It's Timo Meier, who stays red hot, from Couture and Dahlin at 10:49. And then a little over 30 seconds later, San Jose scores again to go up 4-0. It's Erik Karlsson from Barabanov and Balcers at 11:30. Barabanov and Balcers is a fantastic combination right there. That should be a show, Barabanov and Balcers. Anyways, the Sharks get a power play. It's unsuccessful, but they're up 4-0 going into the third period. What could go wrong? Well, New Jersey is capable of a comeback. Sharks were trapping out early. No easy entries for the Devils. The first shot for San Jose was around 5 minutes. And that's the first shot of the period. So this was a very well-defended period. But Tatar breaks through that, gets a goal at 9:12 from Zaka and Hischier. And then at 12:49, it's Jesper Bratt scoring from Johnson. And the momentum had shifted. You could see it. They pulled the goaltender early because they needed 2. That allows Timo Meier to hit the empty net at 16:59. San Jose wins this one 5-2. I would have been totally remembering all that Hurdle tagging up and that goal counting if it wasn't like 12 hours ago, thanks to the Western game. So anyways, yeah, 5-2 for San Jose. They go to 12-9-1 on the season. For New Jersey, they are 9-7-4 now. Shots are 14-10 New Jersey in the first, 16-7 San Jose in the second, 13-5 New Jersey in the third. They did outshoot the Sharks 34-31. Power plays 1 for 3 for San Jose, 0 for 1 for New Jersey. Hits 23-21 for the Sharks. Reimer saves 32 out of 34. Blackwood saves 26 out of 30. And there you go. So, see? Got it all figured out. We're all good. Next up, Tampa. This is an interesting one. Tampa Bay comes out, and it looks like they're going to absolutely spank St. Louis, and then it changed. And it's weird how the momentum changed in this. So, it's Elliott versus Binnington. No Stamkos. He is home for the birth of his kid. Kudos to him for that. Best of luck to him with that one. It is an odd way that they announced it, as if it's a robot that wrote the text for it, and in a way that humans might speak, but it's not. So Cirelli scores from Radish and Hedman at 2:02. So it's 1-0 for Tampa early. Bolts get a power play. Perry had a chance, was saved. It's killed off. However, at 5:24, Corey Perry gets his third goal in 3 games, right? This is a 3-game goal streak from Cirelli. So it's 2-0. And then 5 seconds later, Chernak scores from Colton. Now, when I say scores, I mean he put it off the boards, and it went in, as if it was an empty netter. Binnington, that might be the biggest dang it of the year. If Steve Dangle will have it on a dang it, it's going to be there. It might be the biggest dang it of the year, because you can't have that. So it's 3-0. Announcers are surprised that Binnington doesn't get pulled. I am surprised Binnington's not pulled after that one. But it kind of turns out to be for the best for the Blues. Again, this is about rallying behind your goaltender, kind of like what Florida does here. So the shots are 10-4 for the Bolts at 6.5 minutes. They've come out very, very strong. But for the rest of the period, St. Louis starts catching up. Shen fires one wide. The Blues press. Bortuzzo nearly buries one. There's a power play for the Blues. It's unsuccessful. It's 3-0 after 1. The shots even up. The score didn't. But at 3:15, O'Reilly gets a goal from Kyrou and Parayko, and suddenly it's 3-1. The Blues then get a power play. Kyrou at a blast that was saved. It's killed off. But Brown scores from Sundqvist at 6:13. This is Logan Brown. It's his first as a Blue. Jeff Brown was in attendance, clearly excited that his son got a goal. And it's kind of a nice moment there. So that makes it 3-2, and you could see the momentum was swinging. Colton with a rush chance deflects out. Shots even up. Zone time favored the Blues, however, at this stage of the game. 32.9 seconds left. The Blues get a power play. So that rolls over into the third, and they score on it. It's Barbashev who continues this incredible run he's been on from Perunovic and Buchnevich, which is such a fun goal to have. Barbashev, Perunovic, and Buchnevich. It's like there's a minimum number of letters you have to combine on that goal. That's at 111. So it's suddenly tied. And you could see Tampa was maybe a little bit concerned at this stage, right? Bolts tried to answer. Cirelli had a shot that was blocked. McDonough can't bury one. Bolts press at 7.5 minutes, but they're kept to the outside for the most part. Shots are 5-3 for Tampa 9 minutes into it. Power play for Tampa with 8:02 left. There's a shorthanded chance for Barbashev, and that helps to kill it off. Barbashev had a shot blocked as the Blues would press, and in the last minute, the Blues press. Elliott makes saves. The former St. Louis Blues goaltender, Elliott. We go to overtime. Cirelli can't bury one in the overtime. 46 seconds in, Bolts get a power play. Barry Boulay had 2 chances on the net. Cirelli was denied, and it's killed off. Colton fires one wide, and we have end-to-end action with 4-on-4 action once the power play is over. But we go to a shootout. In the shootout, there's one goal. It's Ryan O'Reilly. His is the winner. St. Louis comes back from 3-0 down after 1 to win 4-3 in a shootout. They go to 12-7-3. For Tampa, they drop to 12-5-4. Shots are 14-13 Tampa in the first, 10-9 St. Louis in the second, 10-7 St. Louis in the third. In the overtimes, Tampa Bay had all 3 shots. Final shots are 33 each. Power plays, both teams went 1 for 3, and the hits were 17-15 in favor of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Elliott saves 30 out of 33. Binnington also saves 30 out of 33. Evenly played game at the end of it. Tampa will be kicking themselves they didn't get 2 points, but they get the 1. And for St. Louis, this feels like an important 2 points as we see teams jockeying for position in that division. We see Winnipeg kind of spinning their wheels a little bit. St. Louis gets 2 points. That could be huge. Anyways, now we need to change boards. Okay, next up is the most lopsided game of the night, where you're waiting for that momentum swing. It never happened. Columbus, Merzlikins versus Saros. Forsberg scores from Granlund and Duchesne at 4:56. The shots are 4-piece 8 minutes into this. The shots were kind of close at parts of this game, but the game wasn't close. Tomasino with a rush chance. Cousins denied after that. Preds get a power play. They definitely had the jump. That power play's killed off, but Trennan scores from Sissons and Jeannot at 12:43. Forsberg then rifles one in from Granlund at 12:52. That's 2 goals in 9 seconds, and Elvis's night is done. Korpisalo is in. Cue the Elvis has left the building jokes from the Nashville announcers. I heard them. There were a few of them in there. Preds were keeping Columbus to the outside. Fabro in the last minute had a whiff on an opportunity that would have made it 4-0. Doesn't end up being all that key. Second period, Texier had a rush chance to save. There's a power play for Columbus. Columbus scores. It's challenged as offside. In this case, it is offside. Shots are 13-5 for Columbus with 8.5 minutes left. And then the switch. First, it's Forsberg from Granlund and Duchesne at 15:26. That's right. It's a hat trick for Forsberg. Then there's a late power play for the Predators. And they score on it. And it's Forsberg with his 4th goal of the game from Granlund and Johansson. So Granlund with 4 assists. Forsberg with 4 goals. They had decent games. And yeah, that's at 19:54. That makes it 5-0. Third period, things get kind of scrummy early. You could tell Columbus was just... There was a lot of anger with Columbus at how this game went, and rightfully so. Both teams had 2 players go to the box coming out of that. Columbus presses at 2 minutes. It's not going anywhere. Cousins would score the 6th goal of the game from Tomasino and Novak at 7:15. Borowiecki throws a hit on Corrali. Corrali takes exception to, so him and Borowiecki kind of went at it. It was a 4-minute roughing on one side, 2 minutes on the other. So Nashville emerges with a power play. It's not successful. There's another power play for them late. Not all that important. Cousins nearly buries one, is killed off, and in the last minute, Columbus gets their second and final power play of the game. So it's a 6-0 win. It's a shutout. Columbus drops to 12-8 with this loss. Nashville 12-9-1 with this big victory. Shots were 14-9 Nashville in the first, 14 each in the second, and 9-4 Nashville in the third. Final shots 37-27 for the Preds. Power plays Columbus 0 for 2, Nashville 1 for 4. Both teams had 7 hits. So despite all the scrumminess and all the anger and all the almost fights we saw in this, there wasn't that much hitting. Merzlikin saved 6 out of 9, replaced by Korpisalo, who saved 25 out of 28. Saros, all 27 shots saved for the shutout. And every single time you watch Saros play, they talk about how short he is, and every single game he just looks pretty darn good. So it's almost as if a goaltender has really good reflexes and he's really good in the net and he's good at playing his angles, being a little bit shorter doesn't hurt him as much. All right, next up, Minnesota. Minnesota did not fall into the trap. I was smart not to use that Akbar magnet this morning. I thought, nope, not going to happen. Wedgwood versus Kakkonen. Now, it started out in Arizona's favor. The shots are 3-1 in their favor at 4 minutes. And then Keller scores from Kessel at 5:58. And I thought, is it going to happen? Are we going to see the Coyotes go into Minnesota the night after they went into Winnipeg and come out with a victory? Eriksson Ek from Kulikov and Greenway at 7:06 kind of silenced those thoughts for me. The Coyotes, though, pressed to answer, and they get a power play. The Wild did kill it. We then get a press by the Wild with 8.5 minutes left. The press draws a Wild power play. The Wild power play is still struggling. Fiala with a crossbar after it ends. The chances favor the Coyotes in the first period, but it's tied. Second period, Hartman with a tip wide as the Wild press. Kaprizov was working his magic during that shift and beyond. Good game for him again. Shots are 3-1 for the Wild at 6.5 minutes, and then Kaprizov scores from Hartman and Goligoski at 7:20. So that makes it 2-1. Wild get a power play. It's unsuccessful. Eriksson Ek had a shot that was saved afterwards, and Greenway. That's his first of the season, right? First or second. I know he's had his struggles putting the puck in the net. He gets a goal from Merrill at 14:19, unless they've changed it. And I'm going to say, because people ask me about like goal songs and all this, and I don't really care, but I will say this, of the goal songs in the league, Shout is a fun one for Minnesota. I like that one. Because it is an earworm. It's not aggravating. And it's fun, and everybody knows it. So that's kind of what a goal song should be, is something that's fun, not aggravating, bit of an earworm, and people can kind of sing along if they want to. So, anyways, Coyotes get a power play. That was unsuccessful. And then with 4 seconds left in the period, Brodin scores from Kaprizov and Hartman. So that makes it 4-1. Third period, the Wild had a 3-on-2 that petered out on them. Shots are 3-1 for the Wild at 5 minutes. They're locking it down pretty well. Kessel blasts one high, and then it's Stralman. After a good press by the Arizona Coyotes, he gets a goal from Chychrun and Keller at 5:58. So Chychrun continues to put up points, much better than he did at the start of the year where he wasn't getting any. And then the Wild would press at 7.5 minutes, and they score. Foligno from Brodin and Greenway at 7:42. So Greenway with a goal and an assist. Brodin with a goal and an assist. Good nights for them. Kaprizov then had a chance that was saved and held on to. Keller from the slot had an opportunity that was saved by Kakkonen. 2:09 left. The Wild get a power play. We end up with Fiala versus Larson with 36.9 seconds left. And Minnesota comes out of it with a 5-on-3. But at the end of the night, it doesn't matter. Final score is 5-2. Minnesota goes to 15-6-1. Arizona drops to 5-16-2. So the records are almost exactly opposite of one another. Shots are 13-11 Arizona in the first, 13-10 Minnesota in the second, 13-8 Minnesota in the third. Final shots 37-31 for the Wild. Power plays 0-2 for Arizona, 0-4 for Minnesota. Hits 27-18 for the Wild. Wedgwood saves 32 out of 37. Didn't have a great game, but Minnesota played really well too. Kakkonen saves 29 out of 31. So good night from him, and I'm glad to see it. I like the goaltending tandem in Minnesota. Maybe with a start like this, he'll start getting some more games. Chance to prove himself a little bit more. Next up, and what allows this combination. So this is the Minnesota Wild reverse retro, of course, right, from last season, which they should be wearing still, but they don't. And a Minnesota North Stars hat, which technically is a Dallas hat when you think about it, and yet it's a Minnesota one too. Both teams win tonight, so I thought, yep, this is one of those rare times where I can wear that combination and it won't look silly. Because the colors are the same. So it's Anderson versus Holtby. Bonus coaching game number 2500 in the NHL. And for Holtby, the question can be asked of why wouldn't you start Ottinger? Holtby's a pretty good goaltender too. Hudobin's time as a goaltender in the NHL, or at the very least with the Dallas Stars, seems to be coming to an end. Holtby and Ottinger have been very good. And Hintz scores from Pavelski at 113. Daryl Ray has just some of the best adjectives in hockey parlance. He said it was on a corpulent rebound. I'll take his word for it, that it was a corpulent rebound. This close to cromulent. This close. But yeah, Hintz gets that goal. He stays red hot, as does Pavelski with the helper. Stars try to add another. Holtby with a save on Lawrence, and that's held on to. Canes get a power play, and that power play was not good. Shorthanded break for Glendening, and then he gets another chance shortly thereafter. And then there was a shorthanded break for Hintz, and he fires one high. It's killed off, and probably for the best for Carolina. Stars then get a power play. That's a no. Holtby was guilty of a turnover after the power play ended. They recovered, though. It didn't go in the net. Canes press with 8 minutes left. Then they get a power play. That was unsuccessful. Hintz blasts one wide. The Stars press. Last minute chances for both teams. Pretty good back and forth game. The score's 1-0 for Dallas, even though Carolina outchances them in that period. Although, the shots, being as they are, don't tell the whole story, and Dallas played a pretty good period as well. Second period, Hintz with a rush chance. The Stars press. They get a power play. Do those Stars? That was a no. It doesn't score. Stars did press after it ended, but the shots are 2-2 at the half. So it was a slow first half, pretty busy second half. Aho had a one-timer that was saved. The Canes press with 6 minutes left. And then Hintz scores from Pavelski and Robertson at 14:57. So it just felt like when Dallas got a really good opportunity, it went in the net. And Carolina was being stymied by Holtby. Natchez nearly answers. Peterson almost went beast mode in the last minute there. Pretty close. But we go to the third period with it 2-0 for Dallas. Aho with a chance. Heiskanen defends in that third period. Pressed by the Canes at 4.5 minutes. And at 5.5 minutes, they're ahead in shots 4-2. So this was the start of them really, having that shot barrage on the Dallas net. Stars were hemmed in. Pretty desperate play by the Canes, rightfully so. And then Pavelski deflects one in from Robertson at 9:31 to make it 3-0. So Pavelski, 2 assists and a goal. And, it's interesting with Pavelski, too, because early in the season it looked like he was kind of a step behind. I guess it just took him a little while longer to get into the swing of things because he's been fantastic lately, as has Hintz and Robertson. That line is the best line for Dallas. May not be the biggest names, but that is their best line. Slavin with a drive was saved. Good game for Holtby. Ben got hit with the puck in the chin. He exits. He came back pretty quickly after that, probably after stitches, if he needed stitches. 6:06 left. The Canes get a power play. There was a shorthanded chance for Hintz. He doesn't get the hat trick. And it's killed off. And then Kotkaniemi, he scores, nice one, and he's on a 3-game goal streak now from Slavin and Niederreiter at 16:27. So, with the score now 3-1 and the shutout broken, they pull the goaltender, which allows Roope Hintz at 17:10 to finally get said hat trick. And there you go. A hat trick, and it was scored from his own end. So that makes it 4-1, gives Dallas back that cushion that they had before the goal by Kotkaniemi. Svechnikov then with a break, he's robbed by Holtby. And if you haven't seen it, go check out the highlight. He absolutely robs Svechnikov. It's one of the best saves I think Dallas has had this year. Might be the best save from a Dallas goaltender this year. The Holtby chant starts up, and this is game number 500 in the career of Braden Holtby. This is a goaltender that last year, after the season's done, Vancouver couldn't find a taker. Nobody was touching his contract. Holtby's done, they said. Holtby's, it's finished. It's over. Might have been the team in front of him. Because in Dallas, it's just working. Or he just needed to change the scenery, and it's just working. So they win this one 4-1. Dallas goes to 11-7-2. They're on a heater. They've won 8 of their last 11. I think this is 5 wins in a row. Carolina 15-5-1. So they still have an excellent record, but Carolina started losing their share of games. Shots in this one, 13-7 Carolina in the first, 10-5 Carolina in the second, 17-5 Carolina in the third. Final shots 40-17 for Carolina, and they lost it 4-1. Power plays, Carolina 0-3, Dallas 0-2. Hits 25-18 for Dallas. Anderson saves 13 out of 16. Holtby saves 39 out of 40. Not bad for a goaltender that we all said his career might be done, might be finished. Apparently not. So, I guess Jim Nill knew what he was doing when he picked him up, and kudos to Nill for that move. Last game up for the night. This is the one that kind of made a mess of this part of the board. So, it's the Anaheim Ducks and the LA Kings. Gibson versus Quick. Drew Doughty making his return. He was somewhat prominent tonight. I think they were trying to ease him in a little bit, here and there, right? Shots are 6-1 for the Kings at 5 minutes. They were faster to pucks. They were playing very well. Lundestrom had a rush chance that was defended. The Kings press at 9 minutes. Quick denies Troy Terry. Kupari had a rush chance that was blocked. The Kings get a power play. That's unsuccessful. Arvidsson had 2 chances in the closing seconds that period, the last 15 seconds. So it's an exciting first period, but it's a scoreless first period. We go to the second. Quick was tested first shift. The Ducks defending better early, so they allowed a lot of shots that first period. They allowed a lot less in the second. Delorier crunches Lazat along the boards. That looked painful. Quick denies Milano. 6.5 minutes in. The Ducks already had more shots in the second period than they had in the entire first period. Ducks get their first power play. Really good penalty kill, had the Ducks pinned down. But then at 10:40, right after that power play ends, Troy Terry scores unassisted. And so Terry's starting to heat up again. It's 1-0 Anaheim. The Kings press with 7.5 minutes left and eventually produces a goal. It's Iafallo, who'd been cold lately. Now he's heating up again. From Arvidsson and Danault at 13:29. It went in off Drysdale's skate. Nobody asks how, just how many. Zegras with the net drive. Brown defends on that. Momentum's with the Kings after the goal. But on a turnover, Shattenkirk scores at 17:53. That was high glove on Quick. I believe the Terry one was as well. So it's 2-1 Anaheim. Lundestrom then nearly makes it 3-1 before the period's out. So we go to the third period. First minute, the Ducks get a power play and they score on it. It's Edler that goes to the box. So Fowler scores from Henrique and Shattenkirk at 2:27. The reason I mention Edler is because then Anaheim makes it 4-1 on a goal by Lundestrom at 2:56. So 29 seconds later, and that one went in off Roy's skate and then Edler's pad. So he's in the box for 1 goal, and then he's the last one to touch an own goal that happens shortly thereafter. Getzlaf had been out since the first. He does not return to the game. Doughty with a shot that deflects. Gibson makes a save on that. And you can see the momentum swing a little bit, but it's 4-1, right? It's 4-1. Kings aren't coming back until they do. It's Kempe from Roy and Kopitar at 7:56. The Kings then scored. It was reviewed for a high stick. And yeah, no goal. It was a high stick. And it was. The goaltender touched it a couple of times, but on the continual effort, or how does it, okay. So that it continuously ends up in the net off the goaltender, it's an own goal. There was no change of possession that would have allowed for that to count. So yeah, they end up taking the goal off the board, which just seemed to make the Kings angrier. So Kaliev's tied up, so he can't bury one because he had an empty net there, and if he wasn't tied up, that's in the net. Pressed by the Kings, and they score. Iafallo tips it in from Doughty and Dursey at 15:08. And Sean Dursey, another good game by him, and really good physical play from him too. It's part of his game that I don't think people maybe is aware of. He can throw hits. And then Brown scores from Roy at 15:34. So 2 goals in 26 seconds. And we're going to overtime. There was some chances at both ends in the rest of the third, but we're going to overtime. Ducks control in the faceoff. Lundestrom had a shot that was saved. Kempe had a rush, fires it wide. Fowler ends up hitting the post. LA Kings take a timeout, but we go to a shootout. It did end during the first 3 shooters, and it's Shattenkirk that gets the winner. The Ducks win at 5-4 in the shootout. They go to 12-8-3 on the season. The Kings drop to 9-8-4 with the shootout loss. And yeah, it's a battle of California. They do tend to go late. The shots are 18-8 Anaheim, or LA in the first, 16-6 Anaheim in the second. So it just flipped between the first and second period. 10-9 Anaheim in the third. In the overtime, Anaheim had 2 shots. LA had 1. Final shots 36-34 for Anaheim. Power plays, Anaheim goes 1 for 2. LA goes 0 for 1. Hits were 34-26 in favor of the Kings. Gibson saves 30 out of 34. Quick saves 32 out of 36. So crazy game to end the night, but it did end the night. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding any of these games. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.